We begin in Nashville. Only 5 of the 14 teams in the SEC made it to 3-0. Vanderbilt is one of them. After blowouts of Middle Tennessee and Alabama A&M, the Commodores upset Kansas State and are on the verge of the top 25. Derek Mason has Vandy playing dastardly defense. The Doors only give up 4.3 points per game, which is number 1 in the country. While they've been mediocre against the run, they're tops in the conference against the pass and have already recorded 5 INTs. Offensively, Ralph Webb is actually off to a slow start. He hasn't done better than 54 yards rushing in any of his 3 games. But Kyle Shermer is finally all grown up and has a perfect touchdown to interception ratio of 8-0. He has the best passer efficiency rating in the entire league. We'll find out in week 4 if Vanderbilt is indeed for real. Big bad Alabama rolls into Music City. All right, let's take it to the house with a pick 6. Tennessee's John Kelly looks like the second coming of Alvin Kamara. He's the SEC's leading rusher with 349 yards. He's also the Volunteers' leading receiver with 16 catches. He had 327 yards from scrimmage against Florida, but that drop at the goal line will haunt him. Had he been able to make that grab, maybe Felipe Franks never finds Tyree Cleveland on that desperation heave, and the Vols walk out of the swamp winners instead of losers. Nick Fitzgerald is getting most of the credit for Mississippi State's lashing of LSU, but don't underestimate the contributions of Eris Williams. He had his second 100-yard game, and he did a lot of his damage on traditional runs. It hasn't all been read option stuff. As a result, Fitzgerald is only running the ball about 10 times per game this year. Last year, it was closer to 15 times per game. Perhaps that's why he's been more pinpoint as a passer. Everyone assumes that the 2 hottest seats in the conference belong to Texas A&M's Kevin Sumlin and Tennessee's Butch Jones. But Missouri's Barry Odom has to be moving up the list. The Tigers are now 1-2 after getting pummeled at home by a Purdue team that went just 3-9 in 2016. Nothing has changed in Columbia. The offense can put up huge numbers, but only against inferior competition. The defense, which is Odom's forte, can't stop anybody. Mizzou is in big trouble. Kentucky has lost 30 consecutive games to Florida, a dubious streak that dates back to 1987. But the Wildcats may never have a better chance to beat the Gators, who travel to Lexington in week 4. UK is coming off an impressive win at South Carolina. UF needed a miracle to survive Tennessee at home. This Cats defense is improving. Meanwhile, this Gators offense is imploding. If Big Blue Nation ever wants to be taken seriously in football, now's the time. Beware the preseason narrative. We were led to believe that Ole Miss finally had the depth and talent necessary along the offensive line to succeed in this league. But the Rebels still can't run the ball, and Shea Patterson was scrambling for his life in Saturday's loss at Cal. Of course, he threw 3 interceptions and couldn't mount a drive in the second half, but rarely was he given a clean pocket and an opportunity to get rid of the ball on time. Not enough protection. South Carolina was dealt quite a blow with the injury to Deebo Samuel. In 2+ games, he'd already scored 6 touchdowns, 3 as a receiver, 2 as a return man, and even 1 as a rusher. Without him, Jake Bentley is going to have a much tougher time making big plays in the passing game. Plus, the Gamecocks are already struggling on the ground. What a critical loss. Hopefully, Samuel will be back in 2017 because he is a lot of fun to watch. And finally, the Jarrett Stidham experience has gotten off to a much slower start than anticipated at Auburn. I bought a lot of Stidham stock in the offseason because he put enough pure arm talent on display to be an upgrade over anybody on the Plains. The Tigers desperately needed a downfield element to their passing game, and he can provide it. Even though he's completing 69% of his passes, he hasn't thrown for a touchdown in 2 games, and his yards per attempt average of 7.4 is just 11th in the SEC. But what I really don't understand is that he's already run the ball 34 times. That's more than Nick Fitzgerald. We know this program prefers a more mobile quarterback, but that's not what Stidham does well. Yes, the offensive line hasn't been great. Sure, the receiving core must step it up, but the play calling must better reflect Stidham's particular skill set. That's on Gus Malzahn, that's on his coaching staff. Thank you for watching, and for all SEC all the time, visit SaturdayDownSouth.com.